Thank you so much for coming, and thank you, Ken, for inviting me to speak today. My name is Jess. I'm a third-year student at Swansea, studying Egyptology and classical civilization. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about my student experience at the Egypt Centre. Obviously, every student is going to have a different one, so this is just my own experience of what I've done, and the ways in which the Egypt Centre has really enriched my degree and helped me along the way. Even before I started my degree, it was really inspiring to me because my mum used to bring me when I was a little kid to see all the objects, and that was part of what started my fascination with Egypt. And I wanted to talk about the opportunities that are available to students at Swansea studying the ancient world. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about, which has definitely had a massive impact on my learning, is the handling classes, which Christian has already talked about. I've taken several modules, the ones listed there, which have included these types of lessons. They're sessions in which students get the chance to engage with real physical ancient objects in person. And they've definitely been some of my favourite sessions that I've ever taken on my degree. For an introduction to archaeology, which was taught by Christian, we had the opportunity to study a single object throughout the entire semester, and we wrote an object life cycle or biography on it, which culminated in our final project for the module. My object was this one. I don't know if you can see it in the picture, but it was a tiny musical rattle of pottery. There was something inside it. We never found out what, because we didn't want to just break it open and look, but you could still hear the rattle if you shook it very gently. Also for inscribing and writing in antiquity, which is taught by Ursin, we had several classes for that in the Egypt Centre. One in particular I really enjoyed was when we were given objects which all showed an example of an ancient language or script, and our group had to try and figure out what they each were. There was a lot of guesses and things. It was very interesting. These handling classes weren't just one-off sessions either. In the module I took on Egyptian art and architecture, which was also taught by Christian, we were in the Egypt Centre almost every week. It was the session I most looked forward to whenever I started the week, was getting to that one. They were structured so that we could learn the theory in the first lecture of the week and then put it into practice what we'd learned later on in the week. We would try and identify different types of objects and the stylistic features that we'd learned about and speculate over what the objects could be. So yes, handling classes are an amazing opportunity to engage with the actual objects in person that we learned about in the lectures. Another opportunity that the Egypt Centre offers, and that I've taken part in over the summer, is volunteering. The students can volunteer to help out in the galleries and also with visiting school groups. It's an excellent chance to gain museum experience if you're interested in potentially working in that environment in the future, which I am interested in that. So, or if you just want to learn more about the objects and collections. I've been assisting in the galleries, where my main task is to answer visitor questions and to deliver the educational activities, the Senate board game, the materials handling board in the corner there, which is definitely my favourite one so far, and the mummification, which I haven't worked up the courage to attempt yet, but I will. You can also collect little badges for your lanyard whenever you learn a new skill or take part in something new, which adds a little bit of motivation because you always want to get the next badge. The Egypt Centre is also really flexible with when students volunteer so that we can fit it in around our studies and our assessments. So we can change when we volunteer, whether it be we just drop in for an afternoon or if we want to schedule a regular time to come. Since last year, I've been taking part in the Swansea University Pottery Project, which Christian also talked a bit about. It's run as a collaboration between the Egypt Centre staff, students and OLCAP. This has probably been my favourite opportunity so far that's been available to students. We volunteer for 2 hours a week to help update the online collection of Egypt Centre objects, and we work specifically with the pottery. At the moment, unless we do stone vessels in the future. I have to admit that before I started my degree, I didn't have a massive interest in pottery, but since I did archaeology and the pottery project, it's become my favourite thing to study so far. We've also been lucky enough to have the chance to work on some of Harrogate's pottery. and work on their ABBASET catalogue, which is it going live later? Yeah, today. So this is an example of one of the catalogue entries for one of the pottery vessels that we did. When we're given a new object, we start by doing all the measurements and enter the information into the database. Those measurements will determine each part of the vessel's name. Very interesting small shouldered jar for this one. We also include information on when it dates from, if we can determine that, either through its stylistic features or if we can see if it was wheel or handmade, and the culture it originates from. The Egypt Centre is pottery from other places as well as Egypt, like the Sudan or Greece. Okay. Then we also include a detailed description of the object, with details we can make it, which can have information on its rim and base style, and what sort of clay it's made from, usually either Nile, silt or marl, and details on any labels or damages that we can see. There's an object history section, which records the more modern side of the object's past, but it's usually already filled in, so we don't have to worry about that one too much. Then finally, we do a Munsell chart reading to accurately record the colour of the pottery vessel. So sort of arising from the pottery project, I also had the chance to write a blog for the Egypt Centre's blog. The blog in itself is an incredibly useful and really interesting resource. I really enjoy reading all the posts, which are on everything from discussions of individual cases in the galleries to articles talking about the Egypt Centre's online courses, and about the more modern histories of objects and the people that are involved in collecting them. So during one of the pottery project sessions, me and Molly, who was the student that I was working with, and she turned up in quite a few of the pictures, were cataloguing this vessel. After puzzling over it for a bit, and then we asked Christy and Ken many questions about it, it turned out that it was an example of a New Kingdom imitation vessel. This one was imitating breccia stone, which is why it's got such colourful paint. So because I was very interested in it, Ken and Christine said I could write a blog post about New Kingdom imitation vessels. And so I did, and I learned a lot from doing that. I enjoyed it so much that I am hoping to do my dissertation on that this year. So thank you very much for listening, everyone. I hope that gave an insight into how much the Egypt Centre really benefits students at Swansea. And I just wanted to say a massive thank you again to the Egypt Centre for all the amazing opportunities that I've had the chance to take part in. Thank you very much.